The 1980s were more than just rhinestones and radio hits. Beneath the surface were albums filled with grit, heartache, and stories that never made the spotlight. While names like Alabama and George Strait ruled the airwaves, other voices carved deeper paths into the genre's soul. Think of Vern Gosdin's sorrowful croon or Rosanne Cash's fearless songwriting, breaking new ground with every lyric. These are the 10 most underrated country albums from the 80s. They didn't always climb the charts, but they shaped the sound of a generation. Number 10. There Is a Season by the Desert Rose Band.
There is a season, turn, turn, turn.
We begin with a harmony-rich treasure that mixed bluegrass roots with West Coast polish. Released in 1989 by MCA Records, There Is a Season marked the Desert Rose Band's third studio album. Despite its depth and refined sound, it was quietly passed over. The record arrived as country radio leaned toward glossier production, and its thoughtful songs were overshadowed by changing trends. Picture the album playing on a turntable in a desert home as the sun sets, with voices rising like warm wind through an open window.
A time you may embrace, a time to read.
Though not a commercial blockbuster, many now view this as the band's most sophisticated and mature work. It left a lasting impression on alt-country circles and remains a quiet classic. From the West Coast, we shift toward a record that started a quiet rebellion in Nashville. Number 9. Storms of Life by Randy Travis.
Storms of life are washing me away.
This may not seem underrated at first glance, but Randy Travis's debut album deserves more recognition for what it accomplished. Released in 1986 by Warner Bros., Storms of Life brought traditional country back into the mainstream at a time when pop country dominated the charts.
Taped across the window of my old Ford.
The industry was unsure whether a return to steel guitars and pure vocals would work in that climate, but Travis proved otherwise. Imagine driving down a back road with Diggin' Up Bones playing on an old FM radio. It felt like rediscovering the roots of country itself. Though eventually successful, this album is often overlooked when discussing revolutionary records.
An old mail pouch, tobacco sign.
In reality, it helped launch the neo-traditionalist movement that would reshape the genre. And now we turn to an artist who used her pen like a scalpel, cutting deep into emotional truths. Number 8. Interiors by Rosanne Cash.
It's going insane.
Rosanne Cash stepped away from the spotlight and straight into the shadows with Interiors. Released by Columbia Records in 1987, this deeply personal and poetic album was a sharp departure from her commercial hits.
Reaching for stars while we're standing on stools.
The songs dealt with emotional unraveling, especially her crumbling marriage to Rodney Crowell. It was too raw for radio and too honest for the market at the time. Picture putting it on during a rainy evening, her voice echoing through a quiet room with lyrics that feel like pages from a journal. Although it didn't chart high, Interiors became a blueprint for introspective country storytelling. It influenced many female artists who followed, opening the door for confessional songwriting in the genre. Next comes a voice that could shatter hearts with a single phrase. Number 7. Chiseled in Stone by Vern Gosdin.
That's still living in me.
Vern Gosdin's voice was filled with sorrow and sincerity, and no album showcased that better than Chiseled in Stone. Released in 1988 by Columbia Records, it didn't dominate the airwaves but won critical acclaim and a CMA Song of the Year award.
The words we spoke in anger just tore my world apart.
Gosden was often overlooked by mainstream radio, perhaps because his sound leaned too traditional in an era of change. You can imagine this record playing from a jukebox in a dimly lit bar as someone nursed a long memory with every sip. Over time, Chiseled in Stone has become a cherished piece of country's emotional history.
That old man just told me.
Influencing balladeers who value storytelling over flash. Now let's crank it up a bit with an outlaw voice that mixed rock and twang like gasoline and fire. Number 6. Guitar Town by Steve Earle.
Get back with me to the guitar town.
Steve Earle burst onto the scene with a voice full of grit and stories fueled by backroads and restlessness. His 1986 debut, Guitar Town, was released by MCA and introduced a new kind of outlaw, one with a beat-up guitar and a poet's pen.
Hey, pretty baby, are you ready for me? Yeah, it's your good rockin' daddy down from Tennessee.
Despite critical praise, it struggled for full acceptance by mainstream country radio, which didn't quite know how to handle his rougher edges. Picture it playing on a roadside diner's jukebox while long-haul drivers nodded in rhythm to Hillbilly Highway. Today, the album is a cornerstone of Americana, but back then, it was a bold outsider that dared to dream beyond the genre's walls.
Everybody told me you can't get far on $37 in a chapter top.
If these forgotten gems are bringing back memories or introducing you to new favorites, hit that like button and subscribe. We share the deeper cuts from country's golden years every single week, keeping the heart of real country music alive. Number 5. King's Record Shop by Rosanne Cash.
As I am too, you'll get who you.
Before she released Interiors, Rosanne Cash had already crafted something extraordinary with King's Record Shop. Released by Columbia in 1987, the album produced 4 #1 hits, but was often dismissed as simply radio-friendly pop.
She comes apart.
In truth, it was packed with layered songwriting, subtle themes, and crisp production thanks to Rodney Crowell. It's the kind of record you'd hear spinning in a small-town record shop, each song quietly revealing something personal and profound. Rosanne used this album to bridge the gap between classic and modern country. Its influence reached far beyond the charts, inspiring a new generation of thoughtful country artists. Next up is a haunting tale of friendship and betrayal sung by 2 of the genre's greatest legends. Number 4. Pancho and Lefty by Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson.
I don't need your prayers, it's true. Save a few.
When Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson teamed up in 1983 for Pancho and Lefty, the result was something timeless. Released by Epic Records, the album didn't explode on the charts, but resonated deeply with fans.
Gonna keep you free and clean. Now.
The title track, originally by Townes Van Zandt, became a classic through their weathered harmonies and sparse arrangement. You could hear it drifting from a truck stereo on a lonely night drive, the lyrics painting a dusty Western portrait. Though often treated as a side project, this album became a touchstone for storytelling duets.
Day they laid poor Pancho low. Lefty split.
Its quiet strength still echoes through every pair of voices that share a tale. Our next entry wasn't a radio favorite, but it became scripture for songwriters. Number 3. Old Number 1 by Guy Clark, reissued 1980.
Left their dominoes and they come down from the bars, ooh, and everybody's checked.
Guy Clark's Old Number One was originally released in 1975, but its 1980 reissue brought it to new ears that were finally ready to listen. It didn't earn big sales or radio play, but it changed lives behind the scenes.
Left their dominoes and they come down from the bars, ooh, and everybody's checked.
Each song was a masterclass in economy, painting vivid pictures with just a few lines and a gentle strum. Imagine hearing LA Freeway from a porch radio as the sun dipped low behind the hills, every word feeling like it was written just for you.
Left their dominoes and they come down from the bars, ooh, and everybody's checked.
Old Number One was never built for the spotlight, but its fingerprints are on every artist who ever tried to write something real. Now we move to a voice that broke hearts even after he was gone. Number 2, I Wonder Do You Think of Me by Keith Whitley. Released in 1989 after Keith Whitley's sudden passing, this album feels like both a tribute and a final goodbye. I Wonder Do You Think of Me came out under RCA Records and reached number 2 on the charts, yet it still feels under-celebrated. Whitley's vocals were raw and aching, particularly in tracks like I'm Over You and the heartbreaking title song. It was the kind of record you'd play late at night in the cab of a pickup, windows down, trying to make sense of something lost. This was Keith Whitley's last album, but it left an imprint that far outlasted its brief moment in the spotlight. Now we reach our number 1 pick, a supergroup experiment that became a legend in its own right. Number 1, Highwayman by the Highwaymen.
I was a highwayman along the coast.
In 1985, 4 giants of country came together for something powerful and poetic. Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and Chris Christopherson joined forces for Highwayman, released on Columbia Records. Despite their fame, critics were skeptical.
I sailed a schooner around the Horn of Mexico.
Was this a gimmick or something deeper? Then the title track hit, a song about past lives, death, and reincarnation, delivered with gravitas by each voice in turn. Picture that song playing as you drive across an endless highway, each verse feeling like a ghost story told around a campfire.
Buried me in that great tune that knows no sound.
The album proved that great storytelling never ages. Highwayman remains a beacon for collaboration and creative courage. If you loved revisiting these overlooked albums from the 80s, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. We spotlight the country records that deserve a second listen every single week. That wraps up our journey through 10 underrated country albums from the 1980s. They may not have topped every chart, but they captured the heart of a decade filled with transition, rebellion, and reinvention. Thank you for riding along with us through these back roads of forgotten brilliance. Coming up next, 10 underrated country albums from the 70s that you should know, that you might have missed. These are the records that defined a new era while holding tight to tradition. Until then, remember this: sometimes the quietest songs are the ones that stay with you the longest.